I am 30 years old now, and if you were to step inside my apartment today, you would probably think I have everything figured out. The furniture is clean and modern. The shelves are organized. My calendar is full. There is always some kind of soft city noise leaking through the windows, a reminder that life keeps moving whether you are ready or not. From the outside, it looks like success, but there are moments when none of that matters. Moments when the air changes, usually in autumn, when the days grow shorter and the rain begins to tap against the glass with quiet insistence. That's when I close my eyes, just for a second, and leave this place behind. I don't go back to my graduation day. I don't go back to my first job or my first paycheck. I always return to the same memory. A single room, a shared room, a room that smelled of wool, old paper, and the damp, earthy breath of an October storm. At 30, I've learned something no one really tells you when you're young. We spend our childhood desperate to grow up, chasing independence, adventure, and distance. And then we spend our adulthood quietly longing for the safety we once lived inside without even noticing. For me, that safety lived in one small room on a windy autumn night when I was 14 years old. 14 is a strange age. You are balanced between worlds, too old to be held like a child, too young to fully understand the weight of the world pressing in. Your thoughts are loud. Your emotions feel too big for your body. You carry secrets you don't know how to name yet. But that night, in that room, everything was quiet. Outside, the wind was doing what it always did in October. It slipped through the cracks of the house and made the old wood complain. The windows rattled just enough to remind you how thin the barrier was between warmth and cold. Rain poured down in sheets, heavy and relentless, drumming against the glass like it was trying to be heard. It wasn't the kind of rain that soothes you to sleep. It was the kind that feels determined, persistent, almost alive. But none of it could reach us. The storm only made the inside feel smaller, closer, safer. Like the world had wrapped its arms around our house and decided to leave us alone. My bed sat above it all, built into a loft near the ceiling. From up there, I could see everything. At 14, that height felt powerful, like I had my own private world hovering above the rest of life. I was wrapped in a thick quilt my grandmother had made years earlier. It was heavy, stitched from mismatched squares of fabric that never quite made sense together, yet somehow worked perfectly. The weight of it pressed down on me, grounding me, reminding me that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I had a book open in my hands. I can't remember the title now. I've forgotten the characters and the plot, but I remember how the pages felt. I remember the soft sound they made when I turned them. I remember how the warm yellow light from my reading lamp spilled over the paper and left the corners of the room blurred and gentle. In that light, the world felt slower, kinder. Up there, I wasn't just a teenage girl named Hope. I was a traveler. I was brave. I was curious. I was everything the story allowed me to be. But beneath all of that, I was still just a daughter, resting safely above the quiet rhythm of home. Below me sat my mother. She was on the lower bed, legs tucked in, her posture relaxed in a way I didn't fully appreciate until years later. A floor lamp cast a soft glow over her hands as they moved steadily, purposefully. She was knitting. The needles clicked together in a slow, familiar rhythm. Click, click, click. It was a sound that didn't demand attention but rewarded it. She was making a sweater for me, charcoal gray wool, soft and warm. I remember reaching down earlier that evening to touch it, feeling the texture between my fingers. It smelled faintly of the craft shop in town, a scent mixed with yarn and wood and something comforting I could never quite identify. There is something deeply powerful about watching someone create something just for you. At 14, I didn't understand that. I probably rolled my eyes sometimes. I probably assumed there would always be sweaters. Always warmth. Always someone thinking ahead for me. But from the loft, I would lower my book every now and then and watch her hands. They moved with quiet confidence. Not rushed, not careless. Every stitch mattered. She wasn't just knitting wool together. She was building protection. She was turning time into something I could wear. Each movement of her fingers said what she didn't need to put into words. You are cared for. You are safe. You are not alone. Next to her, curled into a perfect white circle, was our cat. He was so pale, he almost glowed in the dim light. His fur caught every hint of warmth from the lamp, making him look unreal, like something imagined. He slept with complete trust, pressed against my mother's leg. His chest rose and fell slowly, steadily. Every now and then, the wind would slam into the side of the house, rattling everything in protest. The cat's ears would twitch once, maybe twice, but he never opened his eyes. He knew what we all knew. Nothing could reach us here. Sometimes I think about how perfect that small moment was. A mother, a daughter, and a cat, all occupying the same quiet space, each lost in our own world but bound together by something invisible and strong. Literacy lived in the book I held, expanding my thoughts beyond that room. Love lived in my mother's hands, looping warmth into existence. And the lullaby was the storm itself, the rain and wind performing just outside our walls, reminding us how good it felt to be inside. There were no phones buzzing, no alerts demanding attention, no endless stream of bad news. The world beyond that room might as well have been another planet. All that existed was the click of needles, the turn of a page, and the steady breathing of a house that knew how to hold its people. At the time, I didn't recognize it as anything special. I thought it was ordinary. I thought there would be countless nights just like it. I thought safety was permanent. Now, at 30, I understand how rare that kind of peace truly is. The world is loud now. It wants things from you constantly. It pulls at your focus and drains your energy. Silence feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. And when I feel myself starting to unravel, when the weight of everything becomes too much, I return to that room. I put myself back under that quilt. I hear the rain against the window. I listen for the steady rhythm of knitting needles. I feel the calm certainty that as long as my mother is there, creating warmth, and the cat is asleep at her side, everything is going to be okay. That memory has carried me through more nights than I can count. I've learned that the most important things in life aren't the ones we chase. They are the ones we pause for. They are the moments when nothing needs to be said, because love is already speaking. My mother didn't need to tell me she loved me that night. She showed me, stitch by stitch. I didn't need to tell her I felt safe. My quiet presence in that loft was enough. We were a symphony of stillness, a storm outside, a mother working, a daughter dreaming, a cat keeping watch. Sometimes I wish I could step back into that moment and speak to the girl I was. I would tell Hope to put the book down just for a minute. I would tell her to watch her mother's hands a little longer, to notice the way the light rested on the cat's fur, to breathe in the smell of rain, wool, and old wood. Because one day she would be 30 years old, sitting alone in a quiet apartment, and she would need that memory more than she could ever imagine. Childhood is made of rooms we don't realize we're leaving until the door has already closed behind us. But the best ones stay. They become part of who we are. That room taught me what home really means. Not just a place to sleep, but a place where the world cannot reach you. A place where someone is always making something to keep you warm. And now, I want to ask you something. Somewhere in your memory, there is a room like that. A moment that feels like a warm blanket when life gets cold. Maybe it wasn't a stormy night. Maybe it was a sunlit kitchen, a long car ride at dusk, or the sound of someone humming while you pretended to sleep. What was the heartbeat of your childhood home? Share your story in the comments. When we tell these memories, we remind each other that even in a loud world, quiet sanctuaries still live inside us. If this story brought back a moment of your own, consider subscribing to the next tale and becoming part of a community that preserves the magic of ordinary memories. Until next time, hold your stories close. And don't forget to cherish the quiet moments while they're happening. They are the ones that last.